which is I guess like a small beach town slash city in the south of Thailand. And yeah, I've had a very, very long day, but long day in a good way. Basically, lots of island hopping and snorkeling and eating. And yeah, that's not a bad life at all. So, um, yeah, I mean, I wanted to try and stick to the schedule of training some chess as well. And actually, I have to give a huge shout out to the guy on Monday stream who brought up the app CTR 4.0 because I completely forgot that this app exists. And yeah, I downloaded it on my phone. And actually, I've been grinding it. And actually, today we're gonna do some more of this CTR 4.0. So maybe if any of you want for me to train a specific chapter here, you can leave a comment, and maybe we can do some of those. So probably most of this stream is gonna be basically watching me do a bunch of tactics on CTR 4.0. And actually, I think this break is exactly what I needed. I mean, I'd basically traveled to Bangkok and ended up getting into some very unhealthy sleeping patterns and just mindlessly playing like some online blitz. And I think just taking a break from it, just drilling tactics instead, and then hopefully when I come back to Bangkok, I'll be sharp, and I think that's gonna be good. And I mean in general as well, like whenever you feel like you're in some kind of like bad state of mind when playing or just on some bad form, it's really important that you act dynamically with your actions, right? Like you don't just keep following this trend of just playing badly, because it's unlikely to change unless you do something drastic, just like in a chess game, right? If you're in some like downward spiral, it's generally a good idea to try and mix things up and change something, right? So basically, that's I mean, I didn't come to Krabi for that purpose. There's a gecko on the wall that I'm just admiring. But yeah, that's basically the plan for today. And probably these tactics are gonna be pretty awful because I am extremely tired. But what to do? What to do? Um, and yeah, was there anything else I wanted to add today? I had some very interesting discussions as well with a new member of the C3 Venom community on Chessable. So really appreciate this guy's comments. His name is Derp Blue, which I think is quite a nice username. Oh, and something completely unrelated to chess, but I have been playing this game called Pokemon Sleep, and I managed to catch a shiny Pokemon in it. And I remember as a kid, I really liked this Pokemon Ninetales, and I caught a shiny Vulpix, and I've just looked up what a shiny Ninetales looks like, and holy crap, it looks so cool. So I'm gonna have a shiny Ninetales, and it has really good stats as well. So basically, today has been a very, very good day, and we're gonna round it off with some tactics. And holy crap, 16 viewers listening to me talk about Pokemon. That's quite surprising. But yeah, welcome guys to the chat, and welcome Josh. Good afternoon, good evening, probably good night is the best best time over here. It's almost midnight, but that's no excuse not to train some tactics. So we're gonna do that now. Let me think. What's the best way of doing this? Oh God, drag lock to unlock. Okay, I think we're good. Maybe I'll hold my phone like this, and then I've got two phones, by the way. Like one's like this one's a bit of a, just like a. It's a long story. I mean, basically, I don't want to mess around changing SIM cards in my usual phone, so I got my hands on like a kind of like budget Samsung phone that does the job. So yeah, we're gonna do some CTR 4.0. Nice view, thank you. Yeah, this is just I'm kind of staying in the town center of Krabi. I mean, most people stay in like the beach resort kind of area, but I think the town center is kind of nice because you can always like access the beach resort area when you want to, and then you've also got all the local food that's very cheap. So it's a little bit more affordable, also really nice vibes, and yeah, it doesn't really have any drawbacks as far as I'm aware. So, oh, the king is defended by fianchetto. That sounds really good, actually. Because this might be like defensive tactics. Oh no, this is probably attacking the king that's fianchettoed, which is probably not bad to look at as well. I mean, I'd prefer defending with the fianchetto. That would be really interesting. Yeah, no, this is definitely all about attacking. That's one slight problem with these kind of courses, that it really does prioritize the attack. Very rarely are we solving tactics in the defense. Oh god, pawn promotion. Probably I should be doing these tactics. Okay, let's do some pawn promotion tactics. These are absolutely horrendous. What should we go for? Let's go for the hardest one, conjunction of methods, and see if we can solve some of these. So, yeah, okay, black to play. Let's see if any of you guys can solve these faster than me, which is probably not difficult. Okay. 3-4, 6-3-6. Bit 2 bishops against 1 rook. We've got this huge pass pawn. We've got this pin going on. Here. Here. No, I need to look at candidate moves more rather than just tunnel visioning random lines. Okay, so let's do this methodically. So what candidates do we have? We've got 1 check, bishop d4 check. We've got some threats, maybe pushing d2, maybe bishop g4 controlling the queen square. Oh, bishop d4 is not a move. I mean, we're pinned. I literally just said that. Guess we can move the king out of the pin. Feels a bit slow. We can also play c4 to secure our pass pawn. Okay, let me do this. So I'm only exercising 1 arm, holding 1 phone up. 2 phones is too much. 1 phone too many. Right. Also, we've got 18 viewers watching this. This is wild. Feel free to share anything about yourself on chat, unless your name is Stephen Willie, in which case I won't even try and encourage you to drop a message. That's a little in joke, but I'm not going to go into it because there's really no point. Oh my god, why is this dimming? Did that just dim, or am I just tripping? Okay, let's actually start calculating. So d2 is the most ambitious one, right? Hits the rook, threatening to promote. Problem is they can play rook takes e5, comes with check. Oh, and then you've got this very nice bishop e6, because bishop e6 prevents bishop d5. And if rook takes e6 check, then you've got king d7, hitting the rook. White cannot go back rook e1 and cannot go rook d6, and then you're just queening. So that just wins. So that's the very nice thing with calculation. You don't actually have to calculate many lines if you find a line that wins. So, and we're glad to see that the move that we felt was the strongest indeed was the strongest. And there's a little thing that a little piece of advice that I guess I've heard multiple times, but it basically boils down to strong players like to play with pass pawns. And I think it's a really interesting remark, because basically pass pawns are very, very difficult to deal with. And a lot of mistakes arise from pass pawns. I mean, the number of games I've lost due to mishandling my opponent's pass pawn, I cannot count. And it's just because the type of positions that arise are just so critical. So you need to have very strong calculation. You need to also have a lot of creativity. And, that takes some skill, which I don't always have. But yeah, if you can get good at pass pawns and then get yourself a pass pawn, then you really give yourself some good winning chances. So strong players like to give themselves pass pawns because then they give themselves some nice winning chances, and if they're strong, then they're gonna make use of it and win, right? So that's the idea. Okay, let's start calculating. So, well, let's actually finish evaluating. I'm being very lazy. 4 pawns, bishop for knight. Okay, both kings are kind of weak. The c3 pawn definitely has some promise to get past. I mean, the h6 pawn is passed, but we don't really acknowledge that. So, I mean, the motif that jumps out, right, is this rook takes d3, because that creates a passed pawn after c takes d3. But before tunnel visioning that, let's just consider all of our candidates. So we've got queen h3 check, queen takes f3 check, got rook takes e4, rook takes d3. Any other moves? Maybe rook f7, a little bit slow. I don't know, don't see a good bishop move either. Seems about right. So, okay, queen h3, queen f3, both of these moves hang a queen, don't achieve anything. So that leaves us with the two piece sacrifices. Rook takes d3, pawn takes d3, and we've got a move in hand. Oh, and what about if we even take the rook as well? Rook takes d3, pawn takes d3, rook takes e4, pawn takes e4, c2. And that queen is unfortunately very awkward and cannot prevent black from promoting. But is that actually winning? So let's say they just move the queen somewhere. I don't know where is good. Like maybe like queen f7, right? The thing is, maybe they've got some perpetuals, but we promote with check. And we also have a bishop. So I think that looks very promising. I mean, let's very briefly check the alternatives. Queen takes e4, pawn takes e4, rook takes d3. The difference here is that they don't have to take the rook, and they can just move their queen, and they'll have queen against rook and bishop. So that's probably a much worse move order. Yeah, I think playing that queen and bishop against queen is definitely advantageous over, let's say, some slow move like rook f7. So I think we can go for it. Okay, this is the nice fancy move, and both pawn takes doesn't make a difference. We just push c2. Okay, lovely, good stuff. Memento Mori, welcome to the stream. I like passed pawns, a good sign, perchance. Yeah, Memento Mori. I can imagine that you like passed pawns, and actually, yeah, I think passed pawns, for the kind of player that likes to calculate and likes these very critical positions, I think it's actually a safer bet to go down these kind of paths as opposed to like the paths to like checkmate the king. Because as much as we love like a lovely Nesmedinov style checkmating attack, the issue is that if you mess up your checkmating attack and you've sacrificed a bunch of pieces, you will probably lose. The difference with, let's say, messing up a passed pawn kind of motif, worst case scenario, you lose the pawn and you can still fight, right? So I think it's like kind of like less risk, but still equally as high reward, because I mean, promoting your passed pawn and executing this passed pawn motif is probably going to win you the game, just as checkmating the opponent's king is, right? So I feel like, yeah, if you can master passed pawns, like, you're onto something. That's my feeling. And I've done a lot of work in passed pawns, and I do think that my ability to handle passed pawns has improved a lot. It's still trash, but it has improved a lot. So yeah. Okay. So let's have a think here. How are you guys finding the setup actually? Is this all right, or do I need to make some improvements? I mean, I realize that my shaky left arm that is getting the biggest workout right now. Holding up my phone isn't ideal, but okay, I guess that adds to the difficulty level. Right. 3-4, 3 pawns, bishop versus knight. So we're a pawn up. We have a beautiful passed c pawn on the 6th rank. Bishop versus knight. I believe it was Jan Marcos who claimed that having a knight really helps getting past pawns down the board. So we have the bishop, not the knight. Yeah, okay. So what candidate moves do we have? We've only got one check, which looks hideous, which is rook c7 check. Got capture of rook takes e8, which of course needs to be checked. We've got the pawn push c7. Any other moves? Maybe some fancy move like rook d8 or bishop d8 or something could be relevant. I mean, probably not. Any other things to be considered? Any king move, bishop move, or pawn move is just going to be met by rook takes c8. And I think we're losing there. So I guess that leaves us... Alright, I'm just double checking that is 100% true. I'm just checking every single move. I mean, okay, let's... So we've got bishop d8 as a candidate. We've got rook takes e8. And that's about it. So bishop d8, does this work on any level? I mean, bishop d8, if rook takes d8, that's a disaster for them because rook takes d8, knight takes d8, c7 will win. We promote the pawn. But bishop d8, knight takes d8. What there? Knight takes d8. If we go c7 now, that's very nice. The knight has to move probably. If the knight moves, then rook takes e8, king takes e8, and we promote. So bishop d8, knight takes d8, c7. What if they play like king e7? If we trade everything, we lose the resulting pawn endgame because black's got this outside passed pawn on a6. So bishop... Yeah. I'll come back to this. I want to make sure I've checked everything else first. So let's just check this rook takes e8. So rook takes e8, king takes e8. The problem here is if we push c7, there's king d7. I'm not feeling that. So okay, bishop d8, knight takes d8. Do we have any other candidate moves here? You could throw in rook c7 then. Bishop d8, knight takes d8. If c7, king e7 is literally the only move. Feels very close. Don't see how to make it work though. Oh, that is nice actually. So we can play bishop d8, knight takes d8, c7, and on king e7, just simply move the rook. I haven't worked out if b8 or a8 makes a difference. Instinctively, I want to play a8 because then any knight move can't attack my rook, right? I play rook a8, and the thing is I'm threatening to push c8 equals queen. And if they move the knight, then again, I can take on e8 with my rook, king takes e8, and I promote again. So bishop d8 is definitely the move then. So bishop d8, actually, do I come with a threat? What happens if they don't take? What if I play bishop d8 and they just say, well, I'm just going to push something, h5 or something. What's the actual threat? If bishop d8 and they do nothing, probably I can just... Probably I can just push c7 and then next play like rook b8. So that if they ever try and take the pawn, knight takes c7, bishop takes c7 will protect the rook on b8. So I do think that it does help. Bishop d8, let's say they move the knight, I don't know where. Knight c5 or something. We go c7. Yeah, this knight is so clumsy somehow. Feels. I mean, yeah. He can't take it. I feel like that has to be improving. And I haven't seen any other move that makes any sense. Rook c7, just knight takes c7, right? So I think bishop d8 is correct. I don't know how long I spent on that. 7 minutes. Jesus Christ. But okay, I mean, it's a critical position. Like, you should probably spend 7 minutes on such a move. Like, you don't want to rush this. Okay, there we go. And we promote. Thank you very much. So if they, if they make a random move like a5, right? This was the point. So here my thinking was, I should play c7, and then rook b8. And the problem with playing rook b8 immediately is maybe that he can then take with the knight. But still no. Still no. Maybe rook b8 is a more finessed way. Because if I play c7 first, you go knight takes c7. I guess I go rook takes c7 with check. But then he goes king e6, and where does my bishop go? Oh, I don't like that at all. So I think rook b8 is the correct move order. Rook b8 first, then c7. You guys following that? If I push c7, knight takes c7, I can't take the bishop because the rook hangs. So c7, so yeah, c7, knight takes c7, rook c7, check king e6. I'm struggling for a move there. Yeah, so let's play rook b8. Yep, that's correct. And then I presume c7 is fast enough. c7, knight c7, bishop c7, rook b8, bishop b8. Yeah, pawn a3, and we just put bishop on e5. So, okay, if they don't push a3 and they play king e6, I guess we can at the very least play g3, a3, f4, and then on a2 we can always play bishop e5. So we are getting in to stop that pawn, and then we should be winning. Yeah, so that should work. Wow, okay, that's it. So I feel like they should have at least given knight takes d8 and shown the c7 line as well, because I don't think I had to find that. But okay, that's nice. What are people saying? Oh, there's a lot of messages. Okay. There is some game of Gukesh where he stacks a piece for double passes. It was awesome. I'll have to find it. The first thing that came to my mind when you said that, there was this amazing game between Gukesh and Firouzja in the candidates tournament, where actually Gukesh had the passes, Firouzja had the piece, and even though Gukesh's position was equal, dynamically equal, of course, he messed up with his passes. Firouzja used his piece excellently and managed to win. That was a cool game with pass pawns. So I guess pass pawns don't always win. If you're playing Firouzja and Firouzja has a piece and you have a bit of a weak king, I mean, yeah, then you've got some problems. Brother, it is Saki. Who is Saki? Peace Saki? How many puzzles should I solve daily to reach 2,000 in Rapid? I'm 1,900 in Rapid. Literally, if you just do even 5 puzzles a day, that should be enough. And if you're not getting to 2,000, then it's probably not to do with your tactics. It's probably to do with something else. So sorry if you're here to annoy, then please get a life. You passed 2,400 Blitz. Congratulations. Very, very nice. Okay. Thanks for coming. I guess that's all right. Yeah, I remember that Firouzja swindled him in the end. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of a different game. I'll look for it now. Yeah, honestly, Josh, send it to me. Like, I'm definitely down to see it. Okay, let's do one more of these. You know what? Actually, you've done a good job with these pass pawns. Let's choose a different. Let's choose a different motif to study. God, what do we do? For the record, guys, I hate doing this. I actually despise doing puzzles. I don't know how people find it fun. Maybe clearance. I feel like I'm bad at clearance sacrifices. Square clearance, diagonal clearance. Let's go with square clearance. I feel like that looks kind of difficult. Oh, okay. My left arm is getting tired. Let's give my right arm a workout. Right, we don't want my left arm to be like incredibly buff, and my right arm to be weak. Right. So we got a little hint that it's checkmate in 2. Ah, so we're clearing the square g7, and rook h7 is going to lead to mate because no. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my left arm. We're gonna have a buff left arm, guys. Rook h7 and queen g7. So we clear the g7 square. Okay, counterplay. So that's the cool thing about CT art. You get like a second position to solve in many cases, but it's not always the same theme. So actually, you get a bit of practice of just solving tactics normally, because this isn't necessarily a clearance sacrifice. And a very cool thing as well, if you make a mistake like multiple times, you get to solve like a mini 5x5 problem, and it will be based on a similar theme as the puzzle that you're attempting. So really, really nice app. Honestly, the best tactics kind of work you can do. I like it even more. Well, I'd say it's better than Woodpecker. I mean, Woodpecker might have its own perks, which has led me to maybe doing more Woodpecker than CT art, but in terms of actual quality of some, I don't know, tactics application, I think CT art 4.0 tops it. Okay, what's the situation? 3, 4. I mean, I really want to just like make this fork work with knight takes e4, but how? Ah, knight e4, pawn e4, bishop h4. So using both of those. I'm just double checking he doesn't have any checks. Yeah, and the thing is he no longer has this like rook h7 motif, right? Because his queen is pinned. So that looks pretty convincing. Okay, lovely. So checkmated 4. Again, we got to clear a square. Also, I'm going to try and train 51 minutes because we've got 3,027 subscribers, which is 3,027 seconds, which equals 51 minutes. So that is the number of minutes I shall be training on my training days. What the hell is this position? Okay, so if we push e7 check, sorry, e2 check, sorry, d2 check, I can't read the notation. d2 check, king takes d2, queen d3, king c1, queen c2 is mate. And on d2 check, queen takes d2, queen b1 is mate. So that's pretty nice. Okay, welcome first to the stream, and nice one with d2. Easy one with knight takes e4. Yeah, you see how slow because I wasn't looking at my forcing moves. So I'm glad you're here to give me a beating when I'm not solving these properly. But yeah, how have you been? What's been up? Okay, let's see if we can do this. Oh, did I just? Oh yeah, this is counterplay. So again, doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be a clearance, sacrifice, tactics. So, okay, what checks do we have? Okay, as soon as I look at checks, rook d7 was the first move that comes in my head. Looks very promising, right? King takes d7, queen e7, queen c7. So rook d7, king c8. I don't quite see it. But it also looks promising, right? Rook d7, king c8, rook c7. King can't go back to d8 due to queen e7, so king b8 forced. Then what? Maybe we can go rook b7 double check. Either we pick up the queen and we're winning, or the king has to go back to c8 or take on b7. If take on b7, then we got queen e7. I'm not trusting this. So do we have any better ways to play? Any other checks at the start? Got bishop c7 check at the start, but just king c8. Then we got rook e8. That also looks kind of promising. That actually looks very promising. Bishop c7, king c8, rook e8. If rook takes, queen takes, king takes c7, then we've only got a queen in the attack, and that's not so good. Rook e8 is met by rook takes e8. I don't really see what we're doing there. I haven't missed out any checks. There must be just rook d7. Rook d7 forces king c8. Now what? Rook c7, king b8. Oh, okay. Rook d7, king c8, rook c7, king b8, rook f7, check. Which means king c8 or king a8 is needed. Let's look at king c8 first. It looks a little worse. Then we go rook takes f8 check, king b7, queen e7 check, king a6 force, rook a8 checkmate. Nice. So rook d7, king c8, rook c7, king b8, rook f7 check, king a8, rook takes f8, king b7 or king a7 doesn't matter, queen e7, and then rook, king a6, rook a8, mate again. Okay, we got it. Let's go. Okay, so this is just a simple checkmate in 2, and then I think we're going to get our long line. Yeah, this rook f7 was difficult for me. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's not enough tactics training. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Because I feel like this motif is like something that, yeah, I'd probably see much more if I did more tactics. Oh, did I look at this? I feel like I didn't even see this move, which is very bad. But luckily for me, I have forced mate after queen e7, king c8, queen takes rook, king b7, queen b8, king a6, and queen a8 is mate. And there's one bishop block in there which does nothing, so I didn't bother to mention it. And the computer doesn't even try it because it's a complete waste of time. And that's mate. Lovely, lovely. Okay. I've been improving a lot. How about you? That's sick, Frizz. I'm glad to hear it. Adrian Yulo says rook d7. Welcome, Adrian, to the stream. But bishop d7. Yeah, and then queen e7 anyway. Exactly. Nice job. Yep, found the line. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's see if we can be faster than Adrian. Also, in what areas have you been improving, Frizz? I'm very curious to hear, like, yeah, which aspects of your chess you feel like you've been making some ground. So we're back to our clearance type of lines. I mean, I'm really looking at this like smothered mate, but how to do it? Ah, there we go. Okay, I got it. No one messaged it on chat, so I don't know if people are just lazy to comment because it's too simple. But queen f6, right? Because the key is you want to create the f7 square for the knight. But if you play queen takes g8, which was my first instinct, then queen takes g8 covers the f7 square. So queen f6, there's bishop takes, there's knight takes, but both allow knight f7, and that's mate. Okay, let's check the counterplay. So this is not necessarily under the clearance theme. Oh, this looks pretty thematic though. Just rook takes a2, king takes a2, and queen a8. But then knight can block. Queen takes a5, king b3. But then queen b4 check, king a2, and queen a4 is mate. So that looks pretty convincing to me. I don't think I've missed anything there. Ba-dum. Ba-dum. Okay, nice. Next puzzle. I'm better at middle games now. I've been beating irons and GMs recently. Let's go, Frizz. Let's go. Any notable GMs? It's always nice if you... Actually, have I beaten any notable GMs online? I don't think I have, actually. It's always like some random Colombian GM who's like 2300 or something. Okay. Although, who are the strongest players I've beaten? I mean, I've beaten Artis Nixons in the Blitz game. But this was also like in training. It wasn't like just like in the online pool. There was someone else who's really strong who I've beaten. Another 2600 GM. Again, I don't think it was just an online pool though. Because I remember I beat someone who was stronger than Nixons, but for some reason I'm just completely blanking on who it was. Anyway. So again, I get this feeling that I want to clear the b3 square for another smothered mate. And it looks like this queen d1 is the way to do it, right? Because you've got this beautiful bishop on f5. You've got the rook pinning the pawn. And that looks really convincing to me. I mean, even if they block with queen c1, it doesn't make a difference. Like, this is just mate. Okay, let's get some counterplay. Very glad to see some nice, easy exercises for a change compared to the ones we were doing earlier. Now, queen takes h7 just looks like it has to be winning. King f8, queen h8 mate. Queen h7, king h7, bishop f6. They can block once, and then we mate on h8, yeah. So that's why knowing some like mating motifs are important. The bishop and rook really coordinate well together. Much better than knight and rook. Although there are some knight and rook patterns that you should probably know. Definitely know. Oh, queen h8, king h8, bishop f6, king g8, rook d8. So this is what I mean about bishop and rook working really well. I mean, I don't know what this guy was doing, giving up their dark squared bishop. I mean, those dark squares are so weak around their king. Now, bishop takes f1. The thing is, it's a little slow, right? And suddenly we get hit by this queen h8. So we need to be faster. And we can actually make it work like this. Wow. Queen h1, king h1, bishop f3, king g1, knight e2. That's always cool. I always get surprised by these bishop and knight mates. I'm not fast at just spotting it. But yeah, good to see. Oh, it's the same one. Okay. Okay. Maybe let's do... I want to do one hard one of these before we move on to a different topic. It's actually kind of a vibe doing these CT art puzzles. Maybe we should try and do these kind of streams more. Oh, that's nice. Pushing e6, because it makes a fork, and if bishop takes, then we've got knight e5. Don't think that can be avoided, so that's quite nice. I mean, yeah, I like, even though these seem simple, I definitely miss this stuff in the game. So it's actually good to look at this. Oh, bishop e6 looks lovely. Bishop d3, I mean. Bishop d3, and then we bring the queen in and give mate. Yeah. And the thing is, it really does help just doing the same type of puzzle again and again. Like, okay, I'm starting to attract some mosquitoes. I guess I'm getting nice and sweaty. Oh, you beat Josh Friedel? He's actually, isn't he like a pretty strong American GM? That's sick. It's actually embarrassing that I don't think I've ever beaten someone higher rated than me OTB. Oh, really? Okay, Josh, that's definitely something to aim for. Yeah, I think like it's very important actually when you try and play classical and try and improve it. It's important to play players stronger than yourself. Because when you play players weaker than yourself, you can kind of get away with a lot that stronger players would punish you for. And it's important not to get too much of a false sense of security that certain ideas and certain moves are working. It's kind of like building bad intuition, right? Because you get into the habit of, oh, this move wins, and actually it doesn't win. Um, yeah. And the thing is, it's like, if you start beating lower rated players, your rating will go up. But then to a certain point where then you start playing lower rated players who are actually better than you, and then they start beating you because they understand positions that you don't, because you've only got to this rating by beating lower rated players. So it's kind of like it's a skill that you need to have beating lower rated players, but it can't be like your only path to success because it just will get capped. Um, and unless that cap is like where you want to be with your chess, it's probably not the way forward. Okay, let's actually go back to solving this. So bishop d3, king g1. Yeah, this is where queen h3. Oh, that's a nice move. But luckily I can just take it, and it literally doesn't change anything. Right? There are no new checks as a result. Oh, it does change something, because they can take with the pawn, and then I don't have mate. Ah, interesting. That's a nice move. How do I deal with this? I mean, I haven't sacked anything, right? So if I take the knight and pawn takes, I am just better there. And probably I can play bishop e2 and force them to sack a rook as well, and then we're just a whole rook up, right? So I think that's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah, so it doesn't... F takes e3. It says rook d8 here. I mean, surely bishop e2 is just completely winning as well, right? Bishop e2? Yeah, -7, I mean, I'll take that. It's good enough. Okay, let's do one more of these. We got a message retracted from Josh. That's true. You did beat me in Blitz one time, and very legitimately as well. Like I was pulling all these tricks out the bag and just completely failing, and that taught me a very important lesson, which was basically don't grab pawns in the opening when you're completely underdeveloped because you think that, you can when you clearly can't. It was one of those positions where it looks like you can, play in a very unprincipled way when you absolutely cannot. So I learned a lot from that game. So that was nice. I feel like you almost beat me in our second ever game we played. Like you were playing some really, really nice chess again, and then somehow I fought back. But not in classical ever somehow. I mean, yeah, classical is so tough to beat stronger players. I mean, they're just so resourceful. I'm getting hungry, actually. That's not good. I literally went out for food just now. Okay, let's push through it. Come on. I mean, I was talking to Adrian about this like yesterday about like, yeah, when you're dealing with like stress or like you're hungry or like you're tired, just push through it and practice pushing through it. Because if you're in a classical game and you're feeling these symptoms, I mean, okay, you should go get up from the board, get a snack and stuff. But let's say none of that is helping. It's useful to be able to solve chess even when you're like compromised physically, mentally, emotionally, right? So, okay, let's push through it. Got 6 pawns, knight versus bishop. Got a pin on the queen. Got some clearance ideas, and there we go. We got this b6 move, right? Because b6, if the pawn takes, we got knight b5. If the queen takes, we just take the bishop. b6, do we have anything else? What about queen c5? But then we take on a7. And if queen takes a7, then queen takes c3, protects the knight. b6 looks like the move. Queen c5 takes on a7. Am I missing anything? Shouldn't be. I mean, if queen c8 at that moment... Wait a sec. I don't think I have to worry about that. b6, queen c5 takes on a7. Firstly, I think queen c8 loses for multiple reasons. I think queen c8, firstly, we could play knight b5. And secondly, we could even just take on c3 even, which is crazy. Because queen takes c3, promote on a8, protect the knight. That's probably enough. I mean, maybe it's a little unnecessary. Because maybe black can play like queen e3 and threaten some perpetuals. So probably just knight b5 is winning. But b6, I'm not missing anything, right? Because there's no... Yeah, I mean, I'm literally hitting the queen. I think that's just winning. Have a bit more confidence, Michael. Come on, for God's sake. Okay, here I just take the free bishop, right? There's nothing to worry about. Yeah. Okay, counterplay. So here, probably bishop takes e5. Just wins the pawn. Protect the queen. Looks pretty nice. Also threaten f4, so yeah, looks pretty good. Has to be. Okay. And we'll take being a pawn up in this endgame. Nice. Okay. Good stuff. So I don't know how many puzzles we just did there. Like, probably like 10 or something. 15. I don't know. So yeah, we'll take that. I mean, basically, just do a bit of tactics every now and then. I mean, there's an amazing like conversation I had with international master Brandon Clark when we had some analysis together after a classical game, and he basically said that like professional footballers, they train every day, right? They train their passing, they train their shooting, they train their dribbling. And these guys, they know how to pass, they know how to shoot, but doesn't mean that they can neglect these basics. They have to just practice it every day, because if you don't, you get a bit rusty, right? And he basically, Brandon Clark, practices tactics every day. And now he's a GM, right? Can someone actually check that? I mean, I know he reached 2,500 FIDE. I believe he got his last GM norm, but maybe he's still missing one GM norm. I don't know. Maybe he's not a GM yet. You found a move? b6, yes, nice. First time I played against you, Michael, you stalemate tricked me. Yeah, that was such a nice trick. That was actually before I knew anything about you, Frizz. I thought you were just like some 1600 who was playing a fantastic game. So yeah, that's why I was also like fairly confident I could trick you with a stalemate. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of nice psychology going into that trick. So yeah, that was an awesome one. But yeah, I've got a minute, I guess, minute and a half to give any final conclusions. I don't even know what to add. I'd say maybe one interesting reflection I've come to recently while being on my travels is like having a bit of clarity over like where I want to push my chess in the coming months, coming years, maybe. And I kind of came to the conclusion that I think I want to pursue National Master. And the reason why, there's so many reasons why, but I'd say actually the first one is that I kind of feel like CM and FM has lost a bit of value in my eyes, in the sense that there are many ways you can get CM and FF through somewhat illegitimate means. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, let's say the Continental Club Cup. This is some random tournament that, because it's a continental event and because FIDE tries to help out, continents like Africa that don't really have as much access to open tournaments where players can legitimately get titles, you can't just allow like continents like Africa to qualify for norms in their continental competitions and then exclude Europe, because that would be a little bit racist, right? So they got to standardize it. But as a result, then you've got events like Continental Club Cup that qualify for norms, qualify for like direct titles, which just feel completely unfair, right? So you've got 2100s who are FMs that have never crossed 2200, and I mean, it's like a bit of a joke, right? So that's the thing. You can get FM and CM in different ways. And I feel like that discredits the title a little bit. But okay, this is just a small point, right? Because, if I were to get FM through getting 2300, I mean, that's getting FM through 2300. No one can dispute that, right? So, but the thing is, an NM, you have, like, at least a British NM, you need to maintain 2200 for a whole year. This is a serious achievement. And if you check the list of NMs published on the ECF website, I mean, there's not a single bad player who is an NM from the UK. Like, every single NM from the UK is a really strong player, from my understanding. So you have to be legit if you get to NM. The second thing is that as a title, I think for a player like me, or a person like me, it's very rewarding in the sense that NM is kind of like the highest tier of the national ELO system, right? Like, there's not going to be any feeling of reaching CM and then feeling like, well, I should pursue FM. Or maybe you reach FM and you're like, well, I should pursue IM. Or you reach IM and you're like, well, I should pursue GM, right? And the thing is with NM, once you get there, there's nothing more to achieve, at least within the national ELO system. So you can really feel like you've reached a conclusion in terms of like your goal, which as a person, I really like reaching these conclusions. Like, I don't know, let's say hitting grade 8 in piano, or like getting a black belt in karate. I mean, like these feats, it's like it really feels like you've hit a milestone, like a really serious milestone, and you can kind of feel a lot of satisfaction from that journey, right? And I think these things are important, and maybe less important for some people, more important for others. I think it's important for me. So I like that. I like that about the title. And then one more thing I really like about it is that I can kind of push towards it without having any stress. Because the thing is with FIDE, I'm a 2000 FIDE player now, and I have something to lose, right? I have 2000 FIDE to lose. And I mean, now I'm like traveling, I really can understand that 2000 FIDE does definitely gain some respect. I mean, like, especially to reach 2000 FIDE in the East, I mean, it's really, really difficult, right? So, I mean, I've got 2000 FIDE through slightly easier means of getting it in the West. But still, you get some respect for 2000 FIDE. And it's not just respect, but it's also like opportunities, like work opportunities. I mean, not only with chess school, but also with coaching opportunities, coaching institutions here. Like, I've had some like potential opportunities that I could potentially follow up on. And it helps being 2000 FIDE, right? It also means that I can qualify for FIDE instructor. I mean, FIDE instructor is actually pretty strict, but if you don't have 2000 FIDE, then you can't apply for it. Like, you can only apply for national instructor. So there's some perks to being 2000 FIDE. And yeah, if I play and push for like 2300 to go for like a FIDE title, there's definitely a risk that I lose it for some time. And I mean, I've done it, right? I've been 2002, and then I immediately lost my 2000 rating because I played some underrated players. And I mean, that's the nature of the game, right? I mean, like, if you want to be a 2000 player and push for 2200, you can't lose to underrated players. You have to beat them. And that's not easy. That's not easy at all. Uh, so yeah, that's an interesting thing where, let's say with the national rating, to be honest, if I dip below 2000 ECF, like nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. I think I hardly care. And that means that like I have some a bit less pressure on my shoulders, and I found that with less pressure, I tend to play better. Like, I still need to be focused. Still need to be trying. Like, if I'm completely casual about it, then of course I play even worse than having pressure on my shoulders. But you kind of want to have no pressure, and also focus and dedication towards the goal. And that kind of like condition and mindset leads you to playing some good chess. So all in all, I think National Master is something I want to pursue. And after this year of travels, I mean, these travels have to end in June 2025, July 2025. My mistake, because a friend of mine is getting married, and I'm going to be effectively a bridesmaid for this wedding. So I'm going to be back for that, and then I'm going to be in UK anyway, and I'll probably stay for a bit. So probably it's worth trying to pursue this national master title while I'm back. And then we'll go from there. Like maybe I'll probably just go back to traveling again. I mean, it's been so much fun, and I mean, I'm saving money over here. It's ridiculous, right? Like the fact that you can save money while having a great time, compared to slugging away in the UK and being miserable. But okay, if I have this goal of like pursuing NM, then I don't think I'm going to be miserable at all. I think it's going to be quite fun. So I think that's going to be the plan. Wait, isn't NM a US title? Not at all. Lots of people have this misconception. No, it's most commonly acquired in the NM, and that's also because it's easier to get in the US. I mean, like all you have to do in the US is hit 2200 once, and you get the NM title. It's completely ridiculous. Whereas in the UK, you have to main 2200 for a whole year, and also maintain it over 30 games. So to maintain 2200 over 30 games is no joke, right? There are a lot of NMs in the US who wouldn't be NMs in the UK. But okay, like what to do? Like, you know, um, I'm not going to complain. I mean, I can just tell people I'm a UK NM, which is even more impressive, and people who know will know, and I think that's enough. And yeah, I think it's a cool objective to reach. And I don't think it's impossible for me, but I also don't think it's like a given. Like I think 2200 in the UK is not easy. Um, yeah, but I think it's something that I can try work towards and grind. So I kind of look forward to this chance, and I'd say like probably short term goal. There's a FIDE Blitz event at the end of this month, and I think I want to pursue it. Like try and do the best I can. Maybe hit 2000 FIDE Blitz. But just try and play some really nice blitz. Like I was getting there a bit in the FIDE Blitz. In the Blitz event I played last Friday, even though it wasn't FIDE. But yeah, I kind of want to reach this flow, just play some really nice chess, be sharp, manage my time well, be confident with my openings, be confident with my play, and just have some really nice chess. And I think actually like trying to improve at Blitz and Rapid, like while traveling Asia, like this is like a really nice pursuit because there's a lot of intuition that goes into like Blitz and Rapid, and I think improving your intuition, and that's why I'm analyzing my online games as well, right? Like I think that if I can reach 2600 by the end of these travels, that would be a beautiful achievement because yeah, I mean 2500 was a real grind, and now if I can take that optimization but actually just elevate my actual chess and reach 2600, this would be very cool. Yeah. I have the feeling, Frizz, that there are some national chess federations that haven't got NM, and I don't know if it's because I don't know if there's some requirements that are needed. I actually don't know. Like they might need to like the National Chess Federation might need to like meet certain requirements for them to be eligible to give NM titles out. I'm not too sure. My life goal 2100 anyway, so nothing to do with titles. I see. I mean, you could technically claim like a regional master RM. I know they have that for 2000 ECF. Again, by maintaining 2000 for a whole year. I know some people who have claimed that, but NM is kind of the legit one in the sense that you get it on Lead Chess and on Chessable. If you ever have an account, it'll say NM next to your name, and on chess.com, right? So it's kind of legit, a bit more legit. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. But it's nice to always like discuss these goals and just talk it out, because it kind of legitimizes it a bit more and keeps you motivated, and also if other people know, then they can kind of motivate you. So I think it's a good thing to do. Studying master games is what made me a big breakthrough in chess. Understanding dynamic play of Alekhine, positional battles of Karpov. Very nice first. I mean, if you can find master games in your own openings, that's really good, right? So for instance, the Good Night Chess, the Red Knight Chess Club, next door to where I live in Bangkok. I mean, they have like a library of books, and I noticed they have Petrosian's, what do we call it? Python strategy, right? And what I'm hoping to do is just flick through the index and just find all the Garganitsa modern games, which I know Petrosian has many, and make sure I've at least studied those, because like there's probably going to be themes and ideas and ways of winning the game which I wouldn't have considered, which are just useful to see. So definitely that's on my list of things to do when I'm back in Bangkok. So yeah, lots of ways to improve, lots of ways to study. Sending support, thank you, Dan Savage. And actually, Dan, are you pursuing the NM title? I'd be curious to hear if that's something that would be on your to-do list, or are you a FM only kind of guy? But guys, I am exhausted. Actually, my arms are exhausted from holding my phone up for an hour and solving these tactics. Yeah, good to see you, Dan, on the stream. And yeah, interested to hear your thoughts on titles. I mean, these last 10 minutes, I just shared some opinions about like pursuing NM versus pursuing FIDE titles. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day there. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed those CTR 4.0 tactics, and see you on Friday for some more chess. So, adios. How do I end the stream? Such a boomer, my god.